This week on Big Ben's Movie Show, Big Ben isn't here. I am your fill-in host, Christopher Allen Smith, and on this week's show, we are going to be talking about Alien Covenant. Can Ridley Scott still bring it? We will let you know in just a few moments. Then last week, we talked about who's going to win the summer of 2017. Now we're going to talk about something that isn't as high-minded, but might be more fun. Who's going to lose the summer of 2017? What are going to be the big train wreck bombs of this summer? And then we are going to talk about Suck Not Suck. There's a lot of interesting headlines. But first, let me introduce my co-host. What's your name?
Noah.
Noah
Welday.
Hold on. All right. Noah Welday. He is a local video editor, employee at a movie theater in town, which will remain nameless.
Yes.
And a local movie raconteur. You might have heard his podcasts, but we'll get into all that later. First, we're going to be talking about headlines. Mm-hmm. Noah.
Yeah.
I don't know if Disney is going into overdrive with their promotional behavior for Pirates of the Caribbean, which is coming out 1 week from today, but apparently Bob Iger has revealed to shareholders that pirates have pirated Pirates of the Caribbean 5, and they are demanding money, threatening to release it. Now, I don't know if paying the money will keep them from releasing it, or sure that they will release it. I don't know which way the threat goes here.
Yeah.
But tell me, what do you think about Pirates of the Caribbean being held hostage by hacking pirates?
Well, first off, there could not be a more apt movie for this to happen to. But I don't think it matters.
You don't think it matters?
All movies get pirated. I don't think if they release Pirates of the Caribbean early, this is going to stop people from seeing Pirates of the Caribbean in theater.
What do you think will stop Pirates of the Caribbean from being seen in theaters?
Like a shooting.
All right. I was thinking more along the lines of having seen Pirates of the Caribbean 4.
No, I'm saying...
But if you want to get supremely dark in the first 5 minutes,
well,
have at it.
I'm just saying Pirates of the Caribbean is big enough. Nothing short of shutting down the theater is going to stop people from seeing the movie.
So here's another question then. Are you interested in Pirates of the Caribbean 5? Is this a series that's kind of run its course and kind of left it in left in dry dock? Or I don't know. I can come up with some sort of
Pirate pun
here.
Well, I didn't see 4, so I still have a good taste in my mouth.
Really?
As far as pirates go?
Because a lot of people didn't like 2 or 3 either.
I loved 2 and 3.
Okay. No,
they were a bit sillier, but yeah, I loved them.
Okay.
So yeah, I am excited. And they've got what's his name back?
They've got Will what's his name back. Will what's his name? I loved him in Gandhi. He was fantastic. Not so good in Gone with the Wind, but holy cow. And Dr. No, he really brought it. Anyway, what was it?
Orlando Bloom.
That's right.
Yes.
Well, what's his name?
Legolas.
Right.
He's back.
Okay.
He's playing Davy Jones.
Okay.
Well, not really, but...
All right, we'll see.
I'm excited.
He's back. He's playing Tom Jones. He's opening at the Caesars, Las Vegas. 2 weeks from now, it's going to be great.
It's going to be amazing.
All right. Speaking of series with problematic entries,
yes.
Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is supposed to come out in November, is going back for reshoots, what could be extensive reshoots. It's looking as, in the past couple years, there's been a lot of discussion about reshoots. Force Awakens had some kind of quiet reshoots. Star Wars Rogue One had some kind of famously big reshoots, and there was a lot of nervousness about that. Fantastic Four had a very raucous, very crazy reshoot schedule that kind of showed up when it wasn't a very good movie.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about these reshoots for Zack Snyder's movie? What do you? What is your feeling on Justice League?
It doesn't bother me.
Why is that?
All movies have reshoots. All movies have reshoots, and there's this sort of stigma because you hear the word reshoot and you think, oh, they need to redo something because it was bad. Right. No, they just need to. Maybe they just need pickup shots. Maybe they just need little things here and there. They're not necessarily doing what Rogue One did and redoing the entire final act, which apparently was for the better because Rogue One was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and reshoots can be good.
Now, here's the thing. Here's my question, though. Specifically with the way that Warner Brothers has been treating these movies, they did some reshooting and retooling of Suicide Squad last year between the release of Batman vs. Superman,
And Suicide Squad.
and the critical reception of Suicide Squad was not fantastic.
They probably should have done more retooling.
Well, see, that's the thing. From what I've heard, is that was a situation where the studio suits got very nervous, freaked out, demanded a bunch of reshoots to change some stuff that wrecked the movie. Part of me, there's been a lot of rumors going around about Zack Snyder kind of messing up the DC cinematic universe and the nerves that Warner Brothers had, especially given the performance of his previous Batman versus Superman. There is a bright spot on the horizon in that Wonder Woman is getting a lot of good early buzz. So hopefully,
very good.
That will kind of right this ship. Maybe. How much are you looking forward to Justice League? Would you say?
A good amount.
Okay.
Hey, like I'm not like excited. Like it's, I don't know. I'm not freaking out over it. But I'm not dreading it either.
Right.
I'm just like, hey, Justice League, that's cool.
All right. Well, yeah, exactly. We'll see. Until there's 2 or 3 good DC movies in a row, I am not gonna look forward to it.
And I really liked Batman vs. Superman.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a minority opinion, I would say.
It's a very minority opinion, yeah.
All right. I'm kind of with you. I like the extended cut better. But anyway, long story short, who knows? These could be Suicide Squad style reshoots that wreck the whole deal, or they could be Rogue One style reshoots that kind of fix it and put it on track.
Yeah.
Time will tell. Anyway, last in our headlines is Jordan Peele, who made a fantastic movie earlier this year. That's right. My mistake. He's made 2 fantastic movies.
Yes.
The one I was thinking of was Get Out.
Yeah.
He is getting a 10-episode TV show on HBO based on some of his previous writings and H.P. Lovecraft.
Yes.
What do you think of it? What do you think of Jordan Peele taking his directing hat, his creative hat, and putting it into a creepy HBO show?
I love it. I love everything about it. I love Jordan Peele. I love HBO. I love Lovecraft. I love it. And it's kind of funny, going into Get Out, I was always kind of under the thought of, I feel like Key is pulling all the weight in the Key and Peele.
I agree 100%.
And then after Get Out, I was like, what's Key doing?
Yeah.
This is all Jordan.
It's interesting. I'm wondering, now that I'm looking at this, now that we're seeing what he does behind the camera, it's almost like if you imagine like John McTiernan and Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Were like a comedy duo in the early 80s. And it's like, oh, Eddie Murphy, and then John McTiernan comes out and directs Die Hard. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
The more talented one is, the guy behind the camera. I'm kind of having a suspicion here that when Jordan Peele gets rolling, I think we might have seen him in his last comedic bit.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. I think, as for, like Keanu, I think we've seen him in his last leading comedic bit. I think he'll still do small parts, like his role in Fargo from season 1.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that was so good.
I think he'll still do stuff like that, but I don't think he'll be headlining a comedy.
Right. So, all right. That's this week's headlines. So now we are going to move on to the main event.
The meat.
Alien Covenant. Ridley Scott's 3rd movie in the Alien universe. Quick synopsis. This picks up about 10 years after the last movie that Ridley Scott did in this kind of universe. The Alien prequel, known as Prometheus.
Yes.
This is a prequel to the original Alien, a sequel to Prometheus, and it covers the events on a ship called Covenant, because apparently all of these movies now are going to be aliens, whatever the name of the ship is. What did you saw it last night, we both saw it last night,
Yes.
It comes out today. What did you think of this movie?
I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. I thought you asked me earlier on a scale of 0 to 10.
Right.
I'd say it's probably a 7 or an 8.
Right.
I really dug it. I thought there's just fantastic performances all around. It's a beautiful looking movie.
Yes.
That's something I'm happy, like Prometheus was also beautiful looking. And so that's Ridley Scott's very good at
Making
visuals.
making things
Visuals,
look
yeah.
great.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good Alien movie. It had a good mix of horror, good action.
Now, his previous entry, Prometheus, got relatively high scores when it came out, but it's kind of taken on this reputation of being a damaged, not very good, cruddy movie. What was your opinion of Prometheus? Because I think there's a lot of people that really love the original Alien, one of the creepiest, craziest horror movies of all time.
It's a sci-fi classic and it's a horror classic.
Right. And then Prometheus was just kind of, another one of these prequels to a movie that came out 30 years ago and was underwhelming.
Need it. Yeah.
You don't need it. Why are they doing this? What did you think of Prometheus?
I liked it.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much?
All
right.
I liked it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the kind of reactions you get here on Big Ben's movie show.
I liked it. I mean, it was nothing jaw-droppingly spectacular.
Right.
But it was nothing abhorrent either.
Okay. So what would you say? Would you say this is kind of better than that, or
Oh, definitely.
worse than? Okay.
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely better.
Yeah, I really did like it a lot. I thought, in a weird way, it kind of highlighted the drawbacks of the original Prometheus. I almost wish they hadn't even made it, because when you watch this movie, there's a few little details that harken back to Prometheus, but almost all of it was unnecessary.
Yeah.
And it serves as kind of a creepy, crazy backstory to this one. Michael Fassbender plays a robot kind of in each one. And we're not going to get too much into the spoilers, but essentially what happens is Covenant picks up the thread of what happened to the crew, the surviving crew of the Prometheus.
Yes.
In this one, and as they discover the creepy craziness, bad things happen, as you might expect in a movie called Alien.
Yeah, so I mean, they pick up the thread left from Prometheus story-wise, but it feels more of a thematic sequel.
Right.
And I mean, it takes all the themes Prometheus brought about, creation, God, what is humanity, all this stuff, and pushes it forward. It expands on all of these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I that's another one of the things that I really liked about it is it was kind of getting away, and zombie movies are a lot like this sometimes.
Yes.
In that, the dead rise from, they rise to walk the earth again, and they attack people. But really, the best zombie movies are not about the people versus the zombies. It's about people versus people dealing with
the zombies.
With the zombies.
Yeah.
And here it's not so much the aliens that are the bad guys, even though they are this, creeping menace. It's they're dealing with the residue of the way humans kind of treat each other, the way humans treat, servants or robots or whatever, and how that is slowly cycling out in these movies, I think is, for me, the most affecting, the creepiest part of it.
Yeah, definitely.
But I would say I'm kind of surprised at how, even though I'm enjoyed Alien Covenant a lot more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot more than Prometheus. I am kind of the agreement with a lot of people who talk about prequels and deride prequels. It is pretty interesting how completely unnecessary these movies are, and I do worry that I think this is one of those one of the things that prequels are accused of is you have this original great movie, then you make a movie before it that kind of fills in little details and little questions that are here, none of which are very interesting or none of which are necessary for the original enjoyment. And I'm almost wondering if they're kind of, by the time people watch these in sequence, Prometheus, Alien Covenant, theoretically whatever the next Alien movie is that Ridley Scott has already talked about directing. I think he's going to start directing it in 18 or 14 months or something. Then you watch the original Alien.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if a lot of the special characteristics of that original Alien are going to be kind of leached out.
There definitely will be. The original Alien's a lot about fear of the unknown.
Right.
They go out into space and they just find this, and it kills them all.
Right.
And if we know where that came from, down to a
kind of
down to a genetic level, at this point we're learning exactly, even from Prometheus, how the aliens are made.
Right.
It's not the unknown anymore.
Holy smokes. So essentially, even though we like this movie, I think we're maybe in a little bit of agreement that it's essentially deconstructing one of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah.
And leaving us the poorer for it. Oh, wow.
That being said,
I
think the...
I was going to give this movie a 7, but now it's destroyed one of my favorite movies of all time. So forget it. 4.
No, that being said, I think the backstory that they give us is interesting enough that it works.
Right.
And while it will take away from some of the magic of the original Alien, it provides us with interesting backstory for what the aliens are and a kind of interesting philosophical playground
Right.
with humanity in the next step
Right.
of artificial intelligence and stuff like that.
Yeah, interesting. So there's an interesting introduction to this movie that seems to be kind of a flashback to how robots are made in the world of Alien and all that kind of stuff. And I know there's been all this chatter, but I'm curious, have you noticed any thematic or even any connective tissue between these movies and the Blade Runner movies? They seem very similar.
I haven't seen Blade Runner.
I'm sorry, what? Wait, you haven't seen the original Blade Runner?
I haven't seen Blade Runner.
Well, that's our show. It's only 16 minutes long because I didn't know who my co-host was. But anyway, all right. And do you have anything else you'd like to say that maybe I'll listen to? Since you've never seen one of the greatest science fiction movies of all
Let me
time?
try to salvage this. Replicant, Deckard, Tears in the Rain. Am I good?
I guess so.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
I know all the references.
I'm not sure that really helps it, but anyway. This awkward moment has been brought to you by...
Harrison Ford.
That's right. So, now we move on to our next segment, Who's Going to Lose the Summer? Last week I said, we talked about movies we were looking forward to, stuff we thought was going to be good. Now, unfortunately, something else that comes along with every summer is big movies, big swings at the bat by the biggest studios, and often they end in tears.
Yes.
Mainly for the accountants. But so we're going to talk a little bit about what we think are the biggest train wrecks coming up, one of which has already happened that I think you and I have been talking about for nearly a year. That was Guy Ritchie's King Arthur, Legend of the Sword.
Legend of the Sword.
Which goes back to my contention that whenever a movie's title is Legend of the whatever, the movie is always awful. Always. There's never been a Legend of Billie Jean, Legend of whatever that's turned into anything good.
I'm trying to think of a good one, and I can't.
Ridley Scott's Legend, kind of not that great.
I Am Legend.
I Am Legend is all right.
Yeah.
Well, Legend of the whatever. Let's not get too specific.
Yeah.
But if
the word legend is okay.
The word legend is okay. However, I will say that if I Am Legend is your example that breaks the pattern.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of shaky ground.
So before we were talking, you had a surprising name or a surprising movie for this category.
Yes.
The one that I am kind of most frightened about is The Mummy, because I think Tom Cruise is getting to that stage where he's getting very hit and miss, which is not something that's usual for him. But you were telling me that there's a movie that a lot of people are excited about that you think might be the big loser of the summer.
I am cautious.
All right, let's hear it.
This movie, made by a little-known studio called Marvel and Sony, it's called Spider-Man: Homecoming, and boy, am I worried.
Talk to me about this. Because a lot of people have that at the top of their list for movies that they're excited about, they're really looking forward to. They're so ecstatic that Marvel is finally getting its hands on Spider-Man, and they're putting out their own Spider-Man movie.
It's at the top of my list of movies I should be excited for, but for some inexplicable reason, I'm not. I see the trailers, and I have no reaction. And I love Spider-Man is my favorite hero, and it's very based off of Ultimate Spider-Man, which is the first comic series I ever read. It's like 200 issues. I read it all in like a month. I love Spider-Man.
Right.
And boy, I just...
Really?
I see it, and I just think, this looks like an okay movie.
Wow. Okay, let me ask you this. One of the big things in nerd culture in the last couple of years, I think it was last year, I think, is Spider-Man showing up in Captain America Civil War.
Yes.
What did you think of Spider-Man in that movie?
Oh, I loved it. I was
Okay.
ecstatic.
So you're ecstatic, but you're worried that this movie isn't going to be any good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't really pin it down. I just have this gut feeling.
That is really interesting.
And it's unfortunate because it's like all of these parts are adding up to what should be a delicious stew. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got Tom Holland is great as Spider-Man. I love him.
Right.
You got Iron Man in there.
Michael
Robert Downey
Keaton.
Jr. Michael Keaton.
You got Batman in there?
Yeah, you got Michael Keaton in there. I love Michael Keaton.
Everybody loves Michael
Yeah.
Keaton.
Oh yeah, who doesn't?
Have you seen some Michael Keaton movies? Because earlier you were projecting yourself as some sort of nerd authority, and then you said you hadn't seen Blade Runner. So I'm just wondering, have you seen the original Batman?
I have only seen Multiplicity.
I love Multiplicity, by the way.
It's a
but
good
anyway,
movie. No,
point is-
the original Batman is one of my favorite Batman movies. Not the well,
that's all right.
Michael Keaton Batman.
Let's move on.
Oh man.
So The Mummy, we're talking basically from top to bottom. This episode of Big Ben's Movie Show is chock full of big, chunky, nerdy genre fare. So The Mummy should be right up there.
Yeah.
It's Tom Cruise doing his Tom Cruise action thing. It's supposed to start out this new connected universe of Universal monster movies. But, oh man, it just looks boring. It looks dated. It looks like a early 2000s mediocre summer movie. Other than that, I can't put my finger on it. It just looks mistimed.
I'm excited about this movie, but saying it looks like an early 2000s summer movie is probably the most apt description for it. Like,
Right.
It looks like Van Helsing
Yes.
with Hugh Jackman.
Yes. It's. I'm not.
You've made me rethink The Mummy the same way I made you rethink Alien Covenant.
Wow. Okay. So were you actually? So you were actually.
I actually was excited for it. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like Tom Cruise. Here's the thing: Tom Cruise doesn't do bad performances.
Yes, he does.
No.
Actually,
Performances?
No. Here's the thing.
Okay.
Actually, this is
Okay.
this is one of the reasons, because the thing about Tom Cruise is you can say all you want about him, but he picks projects that are usually pretty good. They have a really good pedigree. He's very on the script, so it's usually the worst thing you can say about a Tom Cruise movie is it's only just good.
Yeah.
There's no train wrecks. I don't think there's any train wrecks in his past. There's no, but the second Jack Reacher movie that came out last year, I don't think it was a good performance. B, it was like a TV movie. It was shot horribly, paced horribly, written horribly, and all of the usual earmarkers of his quality being put on something. Even the first Jack Reacher, for what it was kind of enjoyable because it looked like he was bringing his thing to it.
It was a Tom Cruise movie.
It was a Tom Cruise movie. No, Jack Reacher looked not good. And now that I'm thinking about it, maybe that's why I'm nervous about The Mummy, because this is the second one that's coming out.
Yeah. And I think Jack Reacher 2 was his last movie that came out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, all right. Anyway,
I
let's
get
move on. Transformers. Do we really need to say any more?
It's
pretty apparent.
It's like you shouldn't prejudge things, but
They've had 4 swings at this ball.
I feel very safe in saying it's bad.
I feel very safe in saying it's bad. And for as much guff as I give Michael Bay and these Transformers movies, I do have to admit I've seen every single one of them, probably on opening day. So I don't know where I get off.
I've also seen them all in theaters. However, I was like 10 when the first one came out, so I have an excuse.
I have no excuse.
Yeah.
King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, already a famous bomb, which was also an attempt to create a connected universe movie of King Arthur movies.
Was it really?
It was. We can get into that later.
Okay.
Yeah, so essentially studios need to stop making these connected universes. Cars 3, is it time to give up the ghost on Pixar and just treat them like any other movie studio that sometimes makes good movies?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, because Pixar, they had The Good Dinosaur, which was
Right.
Finding Dory,
Right.
which was good,
Yeah.
and Cars 3.
Right. Cars 3 is, Inside Out, I think, is their last big one.
Yeah.
Coco's coming up this year,
Yeah.
which could be good.
It's weird because now Pixar's doing 2 movies a year,
Right.
and I think that's their downfall.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll figure this out. All right. So then we got Valerian, City of a Thousand Planets. Luc Besson, famous for
The Fifth
Element. This looks fantastic. But there's some of those, sometimes a movie comes along that you see the trailer, you don't know anything about it, the pedigree sounds great, but you look at it and you go, nope, that movie's gonna hit a wall.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, Valerian. And then maybe, this pains me to say, because for my entire adult and a lot of my teenage years,
Yeah.
Stephen King fans have been clamoring for the Dark Tower big
Yeah.
screen movie. It's coming out in August.
It's coming out in August?
It's coming out in August.
I thought it was coming out next year. That's why there's been no
No.
marketing for
No,
it.
it's coming out in August.
Oh, wow.
Wow, all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't think, here's the thing.
That's not a good,
Stephen King fans love The Dark Tower.
yeah.
As somebody from the outside looking in, I don't think there's the audience for it. I don't think Stephen King fans alone are going to drive this movie.
Probably. It's been years since a Stephen King's name in a preview could open a movie or affect a movie.
It was like the 90s.
Yeah, early 90s. James Bond being a cover name rather than an actual person's name.
Okay.
Then you get Idris Elba in there, then you can get anybody in there.
James Bond can only be a code name going forward. It cannot retroactively be a code
That's
name.
true.
Because
But they've restarted with Casino Royale
Yes.
is a hard reboot.
yeah, but Connery through Brosnan, the code name doesn't work because
I agree.
they all mention
It's a great idea.
his wife.
But the thing is, from up until Craig, I don't care. It's
Yeah.
just like, that was a different era of sequel making. That was a different era of things. There's no way they could have planned, we're going to be making these in 30 years, so let's lay the groundwork.
Yeah.
Now, though, it's like, all right, you're in the modern era. You got to run with the big boys. You're one of the prestige franchises. Think some shit through.
No. I like it simple.
You know what? I do hope. They've started to reboot stuff, or not reboot stuff. They started to remake other movies, which they've already done. They should just go for it and say, we're just doing Thunderball over again.
Yeah.
And
Oh, man. That's the one they should do over again.
That's definitely the
That
one.
movie is. I mean, Spectre is like.
Holler when you're ready. All right, I'm hitting the time code. Hold on. Let me get my. I've been talking about all this other Bond shit. Let me get my head back in it. I'm sorry. I've only had an hour and 45 minutes to prepare, so just give me a moment. You know what they should do?
What?
Here's what they should do.
What should they do?